Welcome to Beauties and Beasties, the independent pest podcast for the UK.
Hello.
Whoa, literally just hit. Severe alert on my phone. There is a high risk of wildfires nationally. Residents, landowners and visitors should not undertake any activity that could start a fire, including disposable barbecues, fire pits, garden incinerators or fireworks. Blah, blah, blah. Follow this. I've got to be honest with you. That was very exciting when it happened, and then it was very dull at the end. Like, for fuck's sake, don't start a fire in the heat.
I don't know about you. I personally am just, it's God, who does? I see that they've. So let's backtrack a little bit, because have you seen that they have very quickly banned the sale of disposable barbecues to everybody, general public, everybody? Nobody can buy a disposable barbecue; they can use it. Now, the funny thing is it shows that government, when it wants to, can work very quickly on things. When we have a look at the changes in our industry, my God, is that sort of like, does it take a long time to get involved? It's interesting just to see that when there is an impetus behind it, government can work fast. When there is no impetus behind it, they will not. So, just pointing that out, just saying, draw your own conclusions from that. Anyway, how's your week been, buddy?
All right, hot, bothered. Like proper hot and bothered. It's been a absolute. Remember Paul Whitehouse and Harry Enfield with the footballer, the Geordie footballer, Scorchio. What was he called?
I don't know.
I remember it. He used to. He would go like Shag Daddy Bear, like blah, blah, blah. Scorchio. Scorchio was the word, wasn't it?
I literally have no idea what you're talking about whatsoever. I
think it was Harry Enfield and Chums. I might be wrong on that. It might have been one of the other sketches. And one of the footballers was Paul Whitehouse, and he was a Spaniard that had went to Newcastle. So he would jump between Spanish and Geordie. It was absolutely brilliant, So he would like be talking in Spanish, and then halfway through you just stop in a Geordie accent and give it, "That I shot Danny Bear like," and he'd carry on in Spanish again, and they would speak to him about stuff. And his favourite word was scorchio, word for hot. It is absolutely scorchio.
Right. Yes, it is. It's 35 degrees in my office at the moment, which I hate. I mean, I was just saying to you and Hugh just before we started, I'd actually much rather be out on the tools bopping about, because there's like my productivity has just circled the drain this week. It's so difficult just to try and concentrate on your little sort of like computer screen when the whole world is literally trying to turn you into a pile of ash. So, and as you can tell, I look like someone bought a Viking off Temu, so I'm not good with the heat in any way, shape, or form. Oh God! So, right, with that, it is. Oh, we could talk about the weather all day. And
what have you learned this week? Then, quickly before we bring them on, what have you learned this week, Al?
Oh, what have I learned? Actually, one thing that I maybe have learned, but I've sort of like have noticed, is talking to a lot of pest controllers. Wasp nests right down this year, but hornet nests right up. And it's got me thinking, is this because hornet nests are built in a different way? They're probably more heat tolerant because they've got a big hole in the bottom. And so actually our hornets, good old European hornets, are more adaptable. They're more drought resistant than wasps are, and probably because they put their nests in locations further away from buildings, not the eaves of houses and stuff. Is this going to be a trend we see going forwards over many years, that on the hot years we have a flip over to hornets nests away from wasp nests?
No, I've never seen a hornet's nest.
about to say you're that far north that you won't, but if this happens again, you probably will, because it's the cold that keeps them out of the north, not the anything else.
Yeah, they are coming. Like there was one last year in a tree that I could have went and looked at because I'd never seen one, so I just went to go and have a look at it, but I just never got a chance, and then I got bored and forgot all about it. And I have seen some. I've seen 2 dead European hornets at a fishing lakes that I go to, and they said that there was a nest in the island on one of the lakes, but I never saw it. I just saw a dead one on the floor. I went, ooh, the European hornet, but I've never actually seen a European hornet's nest ever.
Have you not?
European hornet.
Yeah, they're amazing. So up on the farm, there's a little forester's hut just out around the corner, and it's just basically an old Dutch barn. And I went in there one day, and Simon was there. He had a pair of headphones on, listening to his thing as he's just bucking up some things on the circular saw. And literally no more than about 3-4 feet above his head was a fully intact rugby ball sized like hornet nest. Are you playing with a bloody drill? What are you doing?
Sorry, yeah. I can't hear it because I've got my headphones on, but if anyone hasn't got one of these for the kit bag, they're absolutely mint. The mint. Get yourself one.
Tell me you're not
it doesn't
interested
have to be
in my
Ryobi. Yeah.
Without
no, I
telling
was
me.
interested. I just obviously I've always got to have something to play with because my brain just doesn't stop, does it? So yeah.
Long story short, it was about 3-4 feet above his head, but they're so chilled out and so placid that they didn't give him any sort of like issue whatsoever. They just dropped out of the nest, flew straight away. If that had been a wasp nest, it's like 4 feet above your head, he would have been destroyed.
I'll tell you what I've learned this week before I bring the boys on. I hate Vulcan. I hate it. It is dog shit. It is fucking dog shit. Like to a point now where when people ring up for a wasp nest and say, oh, where is it? If it sounds even slightly inaccessible, I go, oh, no, we're too busy. We're not doing that. Because you are going back to it. There's no getting around it. You are going back to it. It clogs up sprayers. It's absolutely horrific. I hate it. Bring back Bicam, Mighty Ficam.
Keep saying this. It's not coming back. I
know, but it winds people up, doesn't it? Because they really want it back. So just keep saying it more and more.
Yeah, that's it. We'd all want it back. I mean, Christ, there are alternatives. It's just too. It just fails the risk assessment. So I don't know, unless there is some kind of change in the levels of risk dictated by ECHA, then we don't know. I personally want to make a wasp jam out of pyriproxyfen. I think that would be an amazing tool for anyone that's listening. You just get a little vial of the stuff, stick it next to the entrance of the nest, let them plow through it, take it in, feed it to the queen, feed it to the same way you treat ants. Just a little jam made out of macerated insects with some pyriproxyfen in. Let it sort itself out. There would be no contamination for bees because the bees would have zero interest in a protein paste. Done. Happy days.
Be good for good for Asians when they arrive as well.
Absolutely would, wouldn't it? But there we go. You can only say so many times before you get bored of saying it. Right. Let's bring the boys on. So we have Jason, we have Paul. Here we go. Welcome to the stage, boys. How you doing?
Good evening. How are we doing? All right.
I'm all good.
Paul's head's on upside down. Look.
I was starting. Mr. Wade, good evening. Good to see you. Sean's already started.
Brilliant.
Right.
Literally, I think that's all of 15 seconds before. I think that's the fastest, Sean, that you have,
insult known to mankind. Good to see you, Sean.
Lovely to see you too, Paul, and lovely to see you, Jason.
Lovely stuff. So, for everyone listening, we know Paul and we know Jason. They both work at city facilities. But guys, do you want to just give us a bit of an introduction, one by one, who you are, how you got to pest control first, not necessarily how you are, and then a little bit more. So we'll go Paul first.
Okay.
Age before beauty.
So rude. Twice. Right. I started in pest control. I've been in the industry just over 30 years. But before that, I've left school, stockbroker initially. and wasn't for me. Left that, and I think Sean probably tried to follow your path because I was due to join the Metropolitan Police, and then unfortunately, holiday in Zante involved in hit and run, and that was the end of the police force for me. So
you did the hit and run.
No, I didn't do the hit and run. I was involved in the hit and run.
All right, I thought you meant like you got arrested in Zante, and that was the end of it.
I didn't even get a suntan, and it's a bad injury on my leg, 13 ops, etc. And then eventually, got into pest control. Started off obviously Rentokil as a tech. Are we getting more fire alerts?
It's the second one, yeah.
Started off at Rentokil as a technician, surveyor, manager, and then 23 years ago was approached about heading up pest control within City, and I've been with City 23 years, doing the same job in some ways.
I mean, that is a fairly good innings. 23 years.
Is it?
Yeah. I would say.
Only worked with 3 companies. Do you know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah, I know, but it's still impressive. I mean, they should have bought you a shiny watch by now, at the very least.
Yeah, no. we get little medals to go on our lanyards, and that's all it needs, Alex.
Okay, fair enough. Excellent stuff. So, Jason, how about you? What was your journey towards City?
Started off, well, before starting in pest controls in the pub game, I was running pubs. The last pub I had was in Farringdon, the city centre, and my boss would not pay for any pest control. So we used to steal the Rentokil guy from the tea shop next door. He used to give us his radar units, and we'd have that in our thing. And then as soon as Rentokil and the dudes come back in, he would come and collect them quickly and put them back out. So that was my brief introduction. Obviously running, then had enough of working weekends. So joined pest control. Worked for a small company in Kent, monitor pest control, and then joined City as a technician, went to supervisor, and then operations manager.
So how long have you been with City then?
10 years.
10 years. Blimey. Enjoying it? I mean, what's your boss like?
Harsh question.
We love it, yeah, absolutely love it.
There we go.
What do you love about pest control?
Not fire. What do I love about pest control? Me personally?
Both of you.
Right. The variety in it. Because, let's be honest, within pest control, you've got the small companies, you've got the different types of industries that you deal with. Obviously, we specialise in more of the food retailers. But every day is different for myself. And the other major thing for me is the team that I've got working with me.
What a fucking lick arsony.
Oh, good answer though, Sean.
Fucking hell. We said you've got to come on here and tell the truth. You work with Jason, so I know that's a lie.
Hey, we'll see you later. Don't worry about it.
Oh, the drive-bys just keep on going. The first comment we've got today is, do you know Chris? I've now taken Jason's shoes. They're easy to fill.
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
Chris, one of the supervisors, he filled my supervisor role on the Ulster contract, yeah.
So, give us a bit of a background, because you are actually the first pair we've had on from what we would consider like a servicing company or a facilities management company, shall I say. Most of the other people we've spoken to, they've been purely pest control or they've been small to medium-sized businesses. But of course, you guys are that next step up. So it'd be really good to sort of like try and peek behind that curtain a little bit just to see what the big differences are. Because it's a very different outlook on life, being a facilities management company first and a pest control company, within that bubble. How does pest control look different to you? I mean, is it the leading edge of the spear, or is it an upsell to what the rest of what you do?
I suppose we're just part of the service delivery. when you look at from an FM provider, everything that City does, right? And it's, in an Asda store, there's every aspect that we look after. So from a pest control point of view, I mean, within the business, I mean, City, I think turns over about 1.4 billion. Okay. The pest control team is less than 1% of the actual City, from a staffing point of view and everything else. So we're a small aspect to it. But the advantages in, having a problem in the store, etc., and having those other colleagues that are there on site dedicated to, assisting and getting stuff done is a massive advantage for us. Yourself, Chase?
Yeah, no, I just think, the call to arms when something is kicking off, we can have all the right people there very quickly and respond and get that issue resolved extremely quickly, whereas other places you're waiting on multiple subcontractors to come together and solve an issue, whereas we can generally do that all in-house, from plumbing and drainage engineers to roofing. We got the whole package in there, so it's a lot easier just to get everyone in a room quite quickly and solve the issue.
So we've spoken about this sort of like dynamic a couple of times, and it's always been from a point of conjecture, because we've never had anyone sort of like either confirm or deny it. But you've kind of pointed out a really sort of like interesting thing there, which is facilities management is a huge industry. And I have to say, I was guilty that when I went to the FM shows in London, down at the Excel, and I was wondering what on earth is this going to be now? What is going to be sort of like what's a facilities management show? And I was naive in thinking that facilities management is just basically making sure that the stationery stocked up and the floors are cleaned and the rest of it. How big can this industry be? And it blew me away actually as to how complex that side of the industry is. And just from what you were saying there, pest control, a fraction, 1% of a much bigger thing. So I suppose the next question is how do you remain competitive, operational? How do you manage to sort of like convince this huge industry that you are just as important as the guys who are cleaning the washrooms or, managing the store floor, or all of these other elements where that provider will pay, a tender of hundreds of thousands of pounds, but are only willing to pay for a pest control contract of, tens of thousands of pounds?
I think the B&M £2 million fine definitely helps with things like that, Alex. The big fines that are coming out definitely makes people a bit worried about pest control. So we've had quite a lot of people approaching us since a few of the latest fines coming in. I think it's definitely got people a bit concerned.
So,
go on.
But before that,
let's drill down in that then. £2 million for people who don't know about it. Tell us from City's point of view that story, not from like the newspaper point of view. Tell us City's point of view on it.
On B&M's fine.
Yeah.
From what perspective? What do you mean, City's point of view?
From City. So imagine you, a couple of your techs and some of your managers were sitting in a room talking about that, the ins and the outs of the £2 million fine, the things that people won't understand and the things that people will. Tell us what City would probably think about that fine.
Go on, Paul.
Sorry, do you mean from a risk point of view?
No, I just mean everything. I mean from like... Because it's easy to slag them off. It's easy to slag these boys off and go, they must be shit. Fucking hell. I think that's just his text message. I think it's his missus telling him he's going to come for his tea, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, Sean, go on, say again.
No, because I'm guessing it, like, it's quite clear in it. You stand there and you go, £2 million fine, and they had like a pest control issue which wasn't dealt with, and there was mice. And then probably the small guy will go, well, the contractor must be shit because there's mice running all over and da. And then the big guys are probably going, it's not it is. They'll have the hands tied and da. Why have we ended up in a position where firms are getting £2 million fines for mice in their store? What's going wrong?
Truthfully, I think there's a whole multitude of aspects to it. All right.
One.
It's whether you've got the client engagement, whether you've got the client support over bits and pieces, whether you've got the funding aspect as well from a proofing and the correct treatments, whether your pest control company actually, I mean, because we've only got 4 clients, so it's so important for us to get it right every time.
Wow.
So even though, as you said, you know, large pest control organization, etc., you know, as we're classified as, but we've only got 4 customers.
So how? Sorry, I'll go.
No, you go.
No, I was going to say how have they ended up in this position though? Is this because they are underpaying for the service and actually they are getting the service that they are paid for? Do you think this is a case of they're actually paying for a better service and you often see that these people aren't getting it? Like, what is going wrong? Because a £2 million fine for a large firm like that who has the right people in the right places, that it shouldn't be happening in the industry of you servicing companies up there. What's the main problems that's causing these? Because these fines are going to keep coming now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the precedent's been set, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? With that, and it's sorry, Alex, go on.
I was about to say, this is not the first one. This has happened a couple of times now. And it only makes the news because it's a big number. But for those who may or may not be aware, the fines that are imposed work on a sliding scale. So there's probably been a lot of other companies who have been fined for similar things. But the first fine is almost a slap on the wrist and a couple of thousand or a couple of tens of thousands of pounds. But after you reoffend so many times on the trot, it goes to a percentage of your turnover per year.
Yeah.
And it can add, so with that, you know, a third or fourth offence could quite literally cripple a business. It could just, you know, destroy it. So 2 million is a large number, but it's by no means the largest number it could have been if this happens again in the same store in 6 months' time. And this is where it's going to get interesting. But thank you.
Yeah. But I think other aspects, Sean, is that, you know, we know from a legislation point of view and other aspects within the pest control industry that does make our job challenging. You know, so
you go to the tendering process as on, it's always price that is like 70% of that tender process. And it's a race to the bottom. So these companies are going in too low on value. And by the time they have to actually try servicing it, they're not necessarily doing that. But then it's also B&M that wouldn't be completing the recommendations that the pest control technicians are making. So it's a bit of both. But I think there is a big problem in the industry where companies aren't willing to pay top dollar for a decent pest control service.
Mm.
So I will see that, and I'll tell you a story. So this is back in my consultation days, and I won't mention names just because, you know, not fair. But it was a very large company, and they were.
Was it Rentokil?
No. This is the company who were bringing in the best control. You can keep saying names, man. I'm just going to keep saying no.
Every time you say it, I'm not saying who it is. I just keep shouting out names because I know it puts someone up pressure.
So this company wrote a tender, and they got a pest control company in, and they had something like 130 sites, of which 80 were public. And
Marks and Spencer's.
No.
Long story
short, the guy came in, and he came in with a competitive tender of sort of like, it was between 80 and 100K a year, and they snapped his hand up at this. It was great, but the reality of it was he did not have the time, because he was a solo business, to get round 150 sites in a year, because this was nationwide. And actually it meant that in the reality of it, he could get to like 2 sites a day, which meant he was getting to 1 site on average each, you know, a year. He couldn't manage it. But of course, the tendering process was like, yeah, he's great. So in the end, in order to make the money back, he had to charge them extra call-out fees. So when you looked at the actual real cost of that tender, it was closer to about 300K with all of the extra sort of like, wasn't the stop guessing. But the long of the short of that is that this company did this because they had no idea what good looked like in pest control. They had no idea what they should have been asking for or charging. And this is why I was brought in, because I'm like, can you see what this guy's doing? Is it good? And at one point I found, bait left on the floor, and the notes written in the logbook was, I have free baited, which sounds professional. It was not. But the long story, they had no idea. They didn't know if that was good or bad, or there was and some of the sites there was exterior boxes which were mouse boxes, which was baffling, and they had no idea. And after we had a conversation, they actually sort of like increased the limit of their tender. But this kind of brings us back around to what Jason was saying, and just to probe you guys a bit more. Do you think the system's broken? And no offense, the facilities management companies do kind of exacerbate the situation, because pest control is seen as an addendum to a much bigger contract and service. And is that part of the problem, or do you reckon it could be part of the solution?
I think from our point of view, we have a very unique relationship, partnership with our customers. We have a very unique model as well. As in, it's in our interest from a city pest control point of view for our clients to be pest free.
Explain that then, because
now,
isn't that right for every pest company that they have to...
No, because we don't charge our customers anything additional to the works that we do.
So I'm going to play it dumb on this.
Right.
Why, if someone gets a pest control company in, are they they're paying them an amount for that store? Why are they then paying for pest control on top of the amount they're paying?
That's common process with a lot of companies. That they come in cheap, as Jason mentioned, on the contract price, and then all of a sudden, then everything else is additional to contract, additional to contract, additional to contract. We're not. Even with our clients, most of our clients, we hold the budget for that. So if you need 2 bait boxes or whatever may be required, we fund that ourselves. So the technicians, there's no leads or commission or anything involved in our service delivery to the clients.
But surely, and again, not to sort of like drag your business practice through the mud, or into the light, or whatever, how you want to describe that, it must mean that for City Group, pest management is a loss leader, because you're given a budget, but I'm sure that you sort of like you exceed that, the tendering aspect alone, because we've seen the levels of the tenders they go for there. I mean, what was the one, Sean, a couple of weeks ago? It was an NHS contract, and we figured out it was to cover 5,000 people in a building, and they wanted to get it for something like I can't remember the number was, but when I crunched it down, they wanted to pay roughly £3.50 per human being protected a year, and you're like, you couldn't even buy them each a big stick for that. I mean, how do you do it?
So if the contract prices are properly priced up from part one, then it's not a loss leader.
We're not the most profitable in City Group, but we're certainly not a loss leader. We're not taking a loss. And we've also got, so some of our customers are only purely pest control, where we don't deliver the FM model on that. It's just pure pest control.
So this is, hang on a second, because this is the bit that's sort of puddling my brains. So where is it? Here we go. How do you win a tender when it's based on value? And I'm standing there thinking, you've got 4 customers, but if you're wanting to do the full, is that holding you back then? So are you only looking at tenders where it is the full FM package, or are you looking at tenders where, and then how do you compare apples to apples? Because whenever we've looked at a tender and said, we want a tender for this, and then you put it in. But what you're saying is you go to them and you go, we'll charge you this per store for everything.
Truthfully, Sean, we don't really do much tenders. They come to us, and we don't actually tender. They just will knock on our door and say, we want you to do our pest control. And that's generally how it works. I don't think any of our customers fall through a tender process.
No, and we haven't, Sean. I've not spent £1 on sales, promotion, or anything in 23 years for City.
I thought, right or wrong, tell us where I'm right or wrong on this. I thought that when a contract went over a certain amount, it had to be tender by law. Clearly not.
So
No.
Marks and Spencer's probably would have been as part of the FM model. That's probably, but as pest control, we haven't had to tender for any of the other customers we've got.
Wow.
How many contracts would you tender for in a year, Sean?
I don't.
All right.
I figured out very early that no matter how good your tender was, it would come down to price. So
Absolutely.
we went for a tender, and the year before it was 60-40. The last time it come out was 60-40. So for anyone who's never done a tender, it meant that 60% went on how good you said you were, which is effectively how well you write your application, and the other 40% was on price. And I might be wrong on this, but my understanding of it is that when it comes to the price side, what they would say is the person who brings in the lowest price gets 40. If you come in at double their price, you'll get 20. If you come in at 3/4 of the price, you'll get 30, and vice versa. So they're basically bouncing off that. Now, I know that they were unhappy with their supplier, but their supplier just came in at the knees. I think they were charging like 75 or 80 quid for a 3-part rat treatment. And I was talking to someone after the tender process and said, oh, well, what's happening is they run everything at like a break even at best, in the hope that extra work becomes available, which is profitable, which isn't within the tender process, a massive bird netting job or this or that, and they'll whack them on that, and that was how they were doing it. And I just thought, so I don't know, say we wanted to charge £150 for a 3-part rat treatment, which we would lose money on, and they're charging 75, I'm only going to get 20 out of the 40. So his application, and because they're big boys, they've got someone sitting writing them, there's no way in the world I'm coming in at 90 and he's coming in at 70. And then it went to 70-30, and I thought, we've got a shot at this 70-30. They really want a good service. And then I looked and I thought, no, I'm still going to get 15 or 10. So I'm still, it made no difference whether it was 60-40 or 70-30. I thought, I'm not playing this game. It took weeks and weeks out of my time to sit down and write it, and the writing was on the wall. And anybody who says that these tenders are decided before they're written, I would think is probably, they might be down to 2 or 3 that they're looking at, but the rest, if you're going in cold writing a tender, I think you're done. I don't think you've got, or you'd have to be the 100 grand man, wouldn't you? That's like promising the earth and delivering nothing. That's the only way you're going to get in, I think. Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have tended, don't get me wrong, in the past, and similar sort of situation where we just know our prices, because the way we operate, we wouldn't be looked at. So we just don't bother anymore. And people come to us and ask us to have a look at their stores. So a lot of the time, we're just going in and advising rather than going in as a contract. So yeah, it's like Paul says, where with another national company, you would go in and you'd upsell you need an out of hours fly treatment, you need another 20 external rat boxes. Any of that is included in our contract, so there's no extra charge on that. We would just go in and do it, and it's in our interest to sort their fly issue out or their rat issue out, because then we have less follow-ups and therefore we're more profitable by them having less pest activity.
I mean, Sean, we would probably only tender for 1 or 2 a year. But the companies that have approached us and asked if we're interested in tendering, I think the hard part then is evidencing and justifying the correct price for pest control, because it's not going to be £500 per site.
So just to clear up some confusion here, I've just done a bit of a search. A public company like a supermarket operating in the private sector has no legal obligation whatsoever to operate a tendering system for any of its contracts whatsoever. However, the confusion is a public sector body, so NHS or anything that's government owned, there is the Procurement Act 2023 where they must run a formal tender if it goes over a certain threshold. And that threshold is variable depending on the matrix. So there we go. So that's why we keep seeing them for local councils and for sort of like the NHS or for other sort of like, government bodies and that. But it is interesting, therefore, that we talk about this. And I promise we won't talk about tenders all night. But some of these sort of like big companies do still go out to tender, despite the fact that they could pick and choose as they like. And why is that? Is it cost-cutting, or do you think that they just don't know enough about our industry to make an informed decision? They just don't simply know enough about pest control to go to someone and say that's it. Because we see all the time, and Sean alluded to it earlier, you go to a supermarket and you look at the building, you look at the wall at the back of the building, and it is bait box graveyard. You've got company A, and then immediately to that company B and company C and company D, and you know for a fact that all that's happened is there's a persistent problem, they've not been paid enough, and instead of paying the money to fix the problem, they have simply just swapped providers and blamed all of this nonsense on the pest controller rather than taking the accountability that there's maybe something that they haven't done that has contributed to this issue. I'm not sure the question was in that statement, but it's a bit of a ramble.
I mean, look, we've had Asda, we've been servicing Asda from a pest control aspect for 27 years now. So you haven't got all of the different company bait boxes externally, etc. And Marks and Spencer's now for 7 years, I think it is, Jason, isn't it? Yeah. 7 years.
So with that was going to be my next question is how? Because you look in the chat there and people saying that when they've tried to do pest control in supermarkets before, the biggest barrier to success has never been controlling the rats. It's been getting the store manager to invest time, resources, to, get the maintenance team to undertake that proofing work that you have said. So how do you manage that with your contracts? How do you get the teams on board?
We don't leave it down to our technicians to only fight with the GSM. Yes, you'll absolutely get store managers that are a bit disinterested and not keen to engage, but that's where we got an escalation process. Where they will raise it to their supervisor, and it will very quickly climb to very high within, whether that's as the Marks and Spencer, wherever it is, it'll get escalated and it will get done. So we work very closely and very much in partnership with our clients to the point where we almost ingrained into their systems now, especially as we've been with them for so long. We are so ingrained and part of their teams almost that we all work together and get things sorted. So don't get me wrong, do we have issues? Absolutely. On some of the customers, they're not as keen to listen as others, but I would say, generally 90% of the time that escalation process works and we get what we need doing.
Here's the other side of it. If you've only got 4 customers, how the hell do you keep techs interested in what you're doing? Because quite clear, and correct us where I'm wrong again, I'm guessing that your techs just go to the same sites day in, day out.
Yes.
Pretty much. And we've got technicians that have been going to them sites for, 25 years, 24 years?
Wow. Shut up.
Rude again, Alex. Rude again.
I'm just thinking, where did you find him? I want 10 of them. Where did you find him?
We look after them. Look, we've also, from another aspect, on Asda, we have our own internal pest proofing technicians as well. So they will support the technicians because, that's a major aspect in not having to go and get the funding. But you've got that requirement for that bit of proofing there, etc. And our mobile support technicians will turn up there the next day or the following day to implement that stuff to support that tech as well.
So I was having a think there, just as you were saying that. Yeah. I mean, Jason clearly pointing out the wonderful power of bureaucracy, which is so long as you leverage the right language, you can instigate movement higher up. It's like turning up to any site and asking the wrong person to fix the doors. You'll get lip service, but they'll never sort of like shuffle that up the chain. They'll never, the store manager, the floor manager, is never going to get released to sort of like have that budget. So leveraging the power of bureaucracy, being able to talk to the right people in the right way at the right time, with the right stick. But Paul, you made a really interesting point there, which I think a lot of folks miss out on, which is this upsell or cross-sell of service, which is don't ask them to cut the vegetation back, don't ask them to proof the holes in the walls, don't ask them to do these things because they'll push it further and further into the long grass, metaphorically. Do it yourself. And I think
Absolutely.
a lot of, we have people lamenting all the time, recommendations. They don't follow my recommendations, but how many of those recommendations could you actually do? And so, yeah, talk us through that, because that seems like a really key part.
Well, I personally think it is, and it's working with the internal team, etc., on other disciplines. So even if we need to move fridge units out, we've got engineers that can do that. Even if we need to do drainage work, we've got engineers that can support us and do that. Yeah, it's whatever's required, specifically our main clients, admittedly. We've got engineers or individuals that can support in any aspect.
And are they specifically part of the Pest team? Are you borrowing those in from
City?
Right. Okay. So, and again, this is where the struggle occurs, isn't it? When you have pure pest control companies wanting to play in this field. Do you think there'll ever be a point where you'll be able to get 2 or 3 pest control companies actually being able to operate in this way, or is it something that
I don't know, to be fair, because Sean, I was listening to one of your podcasts a while back. He was talking about how in your area, it was one of them, in your area, you want to be the elite in that area, and you want to then the region, and then, but how do you get to that national aspect where you're elite nationally? Now, I've got no illusions from our founder, Lord Willie and Susan Hockey, how they started the business was exceptional. And from that, then obviously we've then got ASDA nationally, and then to deliver the pest control across the whole of their estate, 27 years ago. So I think that setup then allowed us also, because we do run the business slightly different I've got 2 teams. Jason heads up the City FM that looks after Marks and Spencer's and some of the other clients. And then we've got ASDA, which have a dedicated pest control resource.
Hang on. Say that again.
So we have 2 parts of the business.
Yeah.
So we don't run as one organisation. We have our pest control team for ASDA are a totally dedicated team for the ASDA estate. And
so
then
your pest control ASDA techs only go to ASDA.
Yeah. So yes. Okay. So when you're saying about them being bored about the same old store, it's ASDA.
Just
ASDA. But we've got, and another brilliant attribute towards City, or basically nearly all of my team, 97% of my team started as a technician level and have then been promoted from within. So all of my supervisors, technical inspectors, Jason, as he mentioned earlier, is starting off as a technician, then supervisor, ops manager. Connor was the same. You've got that knowledge and that wealth of experience in dealing with that from a technician level and working their way up. And they're worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, but that's got to leave me with a question, though. Straight away, all I think of there is, do you look for particular personality traits and people who you take from the bottom rather than their skill-based, pest control skill-based, or do you look for skill-based and then try and teach them the City way?
No, all aspects.
Okay.
All aspects. You can't put that down to one particular thing, right? All of the the technical inspectors or soups, etc. What are you laughing at?
Dude.
An Asda a day drives you crazy, like an apple a day drives a doctor away. An Asda a day drives you crazy. I love that.
Cheers, you. But yeah, all of those, and Sean, that's a whole multitude of reasons and aspects. Right, my biggest driver, truthfully, is probably attitude, because I know how good all my soups and Jason and Connor and Molly, etc., are. I mean, when we won one of our other clients, we sat down in their head office, and we get on brilliantly with all of our clients, food safety compliance managers, etc. as well. They're a key relationship for us. And Helen actually said, what makes City so good? Because all we're hearing about is how good you are, and that's why we want to work with you. And I just said, it's my team. End of story. It's the technicians, the mobile support, the supervisors, and the managers that make us what we are.
So with that, it's a national company. You're dealing with a very limited range of sites. So as Sean said, it's for some that sounds like hell on earth, going to the same sites every day. How do you keep? So 2 questions for this: how do you keep your technicians engaged with what you're doing? And how do you prevent high turnover churn through your technicians as a result of just doing the same thing day in, day out?
I think from my side, obviously with City FM, my side of the business, where it's not just doing the same supermarket every day. We've got KFCs, Burger Kings, pubs, all that kind of thing, all falling under SSP. One of our customers is SSP, which is your airports, all your pubs in the airports, Burger Kings, etc. We do all that as well on my side. So there is quite a bit of variety on this side, as there is just as there. But I think what keeps our technicians interested is we're not going in and kicking boxes where some other nationals are. We do generally give them time to do follow-ups, do quality work, rather than just going in and trying to tick a box to say we've been in and sorted a job. We will give them the time to actually dig down, get the root cause, and solve that issue.
Are you looking at smart technology then, and have you found anything that you think would satisfy these sites?
We have trialed, I think, every single smart technology that is out there, and there's not a single one that we have found that is either cost effective, it's either extremely expensive, and even then it's not quite where it needs to be. And then where we've gone into other sites and surveyed them for potential customers, we've gone in and looked at the smart technology, opened a box, and you've got a mouse nesting inside one of them smart boxes. So there is no smart technology that is better than what a technician can provide.
That's interesting.
Don't get me wrong, on that aspect, there is motion sensor cameras and other bits and pieces that we use a lot of, because of the 24/7 monitoring and the advantage that you can give to ascertain if that client's premises is pest free or not. Because if we're still getting activity, even though we haven't caught anything or whatever, we will still continue to follow up, whether that's in wall cavity areas or whatever, because it's got to be pest free.
So with that, that's a big question actually that I was thinking about, because there is this assumption between, the micro businesses and the SMEs, and then the servicing and the nationals on the other side, that actually it's only really the servicing and the national companies that are able to afford this kind of technology. It's only available to them because they're the only ones with the pockets deep enough in order to apply this. And with that, their ability to provide this upsell of data, let's say, is why they win the contracts. But you're saying it's nothing to do with that. Actually, if you are diligent, if you are forthright, if you turn up and do the job, a smart box is a smart box, and it's nothing actually more than that. Okay, so
I think the other thing with the smart equipment, Paul said I can't mention other companies and start slagging off other companies, so I'll stay professional.
Ecolab, Reticle. I'm just going to shout them out. I just look to see if your face changes at all, and that would be like, "Ooh, it's that one."
He's analysing you, Joyce.
Yeah, the whole point of the smart equipment is so you can go in there and focus more time on doing a proper survey. But I think what a lot of the nationals are doing are they don't actually pass that savings onto the customer. They charge the customer a fortune to invest into the smart technology, but then they're also just going in and going, no, checking the phone, no, you got no activations, and off they go 5 minutes later. And they go, so they're not actually using that time. They're just double charging the customer.
Ooh.
Ashley Garrett, is he one of yours? Must
No,
be. He said, City offer better salaries to technicians than the top pest control companies do. So they get decent guys that know the job. Routine maintenance work can be very tedious and without diversity, but that technician knows the site and will deliver a better service than any reactive technician can. He clearly wants either a promotion or a raise.
Okay, yeah. So,
Friday night, he's bigging you up, isn't he?
Is he on the other side, Paul?
No. Right. On the salary piece, right. So when I used to work at Rentokil, Alex, do you remember a guy, Martin Ellis?
Sorry, who?
Martin Ellis.
Yes.
Or David Howard. Right. Okay. So they came up to my office, and I was trying to encourage them. At the time, we were paying our technicians about 17,800 quid, and I was like, right. One of the key things I want to, take away is paying technicians proper money, etc. And he closed his book. He put his pen in his jacket, and it was just like, see you later. One of my big ethos is that we do pay proper salaries. I mean, I know when we took over the Marks and Spencer's contract, for example, we did it in a couple of regions, but the first time we recruited, I think it was 8 technicians. 6 of them were field biologist level that came down to being a pest control technician, but on a higher salary than they were on previously.
Do you expect more from those tech? Because this is something I've been playing with in my head, and I was thinking, but do you expect more for that money? Does it open up a new pool? Because every technician who is like, maybe he's not on that money, thinks, I want that money, but would they survive at City? So like, the thing I've always said is they want 50 grand a year and the fuckers can't fill a sticker in on a box. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you stand there and you think, oh well, lads, like, do you have a better quality of technician, or do you think that more money can turn an unmotivated technician into a motivated technician? And if so, how long do you think that would last for? Would it be indefinite, or would it be partial, or time dependent, or what? How often do you see them fall back into bad ways, or is it a culture thing, or what? Where are you at with it?
Do you want that one, Jace?
I think, from my perspective, absolutely. The technicians are the salaries that what will attract them, but that only keeps them that long. It's, do we get a better quality of technician? Absolutely. Do we expect more from them? I would say not necessarily, as long as if you are happy to do work and not just go and sit back, then you'll thrive at City. If you're wanting to cut any corners or anything, then you will struggle at City.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
We are, on a number of our clients, we're consistently audited. Obviously, high level standards and everything else, as you'd expect, and everyone in the industry knows. Hence why, Sean, it's not more, but what I do, obviously, as a business, what we do need and require is quality. So if you're saying, do you pay higher for more? Not more from we just want the technicians to go out and do a decent day's work.
So is what you're saying about the technicians exactly what you're saying about the customers? That what you are doing is you are saying, listen, this is the cost, this is what it costs, and this is what you will get for your money. And as a result, everyone's bought into that from the top to the bottom. Then Is this something that's pushed out through the technicians? Do you have to consistently remind them this is where you're at? Or is it like an Alex Ferguson Man United where in the locker room they just know?
No, I don't think we consistently have to remind people, the importance of getting it right. I think from the management point of view, that ethos, we know how important it is to get it right. Because, Sean, we can't afford to lose a client.
I was going to say your eggs are in one basket, really, aren't they? Because, like, if you lost one,
absolutely got to do it right.
So, with that, how do you keep them motivated then? And not motivated, how do you maintain that level of quality? Sorry, is what I meant to say. Not motivated. We covered that. So, it's a big company. You've not got, eyes everywhere at all time. How do you enforce quality over such a broad range of people when there's, do you have a hierarchy? Do people check in? Do you have people checking each other's works? I mean, how do you maintain quality on such a large scale? Because I've spoken to other big companies, the technical guys from Mighty and Terminex and Rentokil, and they say the biggest issue is when you have over a certain number of technicians, the first thing to go is quality, because you lose that visibility of the end result.
What level of a soup per tex is that with those businesses?
This was their regional and global technical folk. So, you know.
So your supervisors, Jason, how many technicians do they look after?
Each supervisor will have four people below them. So
I
there's
thought
someone.
I thought it was about 1 to 10 was like the industry standard. So you're 1 to 4.
1 to 4, yeah. And
1 to 4.
so if there's an escalation, that supervisor's in there very quickly. So if the technicians aren't doing work quickly, it'll be very quickly apparent where we can then go and guide and support that technician to get them to the level where they need to be.
You've been shouting them, don't you? That's proper like management speak. I shout at them, isn't it? Guide and support them. What the fuck is this shit? What is this? We expect more. We will guide and support you.
Absolutely, Sean. Absolutely, we will absolutely guide and support in the first instance. We will try and make people succeed. There are those people that just will not ever get it.
Yeah.
But generally, we will work with the technician and try getting them to succeed and be a good technician. It's all about attitude. You can come in and never have worked in pest control, and we find them actually quite often a lot more successful because they haven't been indoctrinated by other national companies or other pest control companies. So we find our success is a lot often with people that aren't the level 3 technicians. I find anyway. I shouldn't say we. I find.
Why do you think that is? Sorry, Sean. Before you.
No, yeah, go on. Yeah.
Why do you think that people from outside our industry have this better work ethic to our industry than people who have come from our industry? I mean, what are we losing along the way?
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's more just that when they come in from outside the industry and haven't worked international, they haven't been taught the wrong ways of doing things, and we can guide because we operate so different to any other company. A lot of if you've been in Rentokil for 15 years and then come across to us, some people do struggle to adjust to our way of working.
Yeah. Our biggest success rate was initially when we introduced the mobile support technicians, right? That were people that no experience in pest control. They came in and we upskilled and developed and everything else, put them through their, level 2, etc. And a high percentage of those are still working with us. I would love more trainees, bring more trainees, etc. on. Yeah.
So from that, and Sean, sorry, I promise I'll shut up in a second. Do you think, from your point of view, therefore, because we talk, on the podcast, the trade associations, the general prevailing thought is that we have a recruitment issue on our industry.
Yeah,
there is
massive.
A problem with older people. So you would agree with that, from what you're saying?
Absolutely, yeah. Getting decent quality technicians that aren't job hopping from one job to another, and they've had 5 jobs in 5 years. Yeah, definitely. And to be fair, Alex, that's also geographically as well. I think the Southeast is, for a lot of businesses, we've been approached by another of other potential clients, but they just want us to look after the Southeast area. It's like, no.
Right. So is that because there's an expected higher rate of pay in the Southeast, or just the Southeast is shit?
No.
I'll go with that, Alex. The Southeast is shit.
Right, Jason, no. Right. No, look, we pay basic salary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Northeast. Yeah.
We pay the same basic salary nationally, right? Okay. But in London, obviously, then there's SLA, LWA, LWA. So there's an increase of about 15% on their salaries. But the cost of living in London is 33% more than Sean, your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is tough, absolutely. From the Southeast area, but the rest of it, no, it's good.
Okay. You go.
I was going to say, this is going to sound like I'm sort of having a bit of a go at Jason and the ops guys, and I'm not, and I hope you get the ethos of this. Do you think that having those customers almost does some of your work for you? Because, like, if I want to check what my lads are doing, I have to go out and check it. So, like, any QA work has to be done by me. I have to pick sites, I have to go and look at it, I have to do this, I have to do that. But it almost seems to me like your QA is done by your customer because they're on site all the time checking it. So I'm guessing they're doing a lot of your feedback and going to you, this box wasn't checked, or this tick isn't here, or this isn't da-da-da, and you're like, right, okay then. And then they're almost doing your data collection for you, I guess, so then you can see what's going on. You're like, actually, that's Jimmy. This is the third site in the last 3 months where we've had the same thing brought up by a different QA for freaking Jimmy. Like, we need to offer Jimmy help and support and not shout at him.
I'd say the trick is, Sean, to get there before the customer does call you out on it. So we generally like to get into the stores and do it before the customer finds it. So yes, there's a side of that where we have got, each of our customers have their own audits. You've got KFC that has their rock audits, Burger King have their rock audits, M&S have TSL audits. So they all have their specific audits and they look at what we're doing. Do they call us out? Yes, sometimes, but it'll be, because we work in partnership, it'll be a lot more, can you have a look at it? It's not as bad as people think it is, but generally because we do a good job and we are their trusted partner, they do fully trust us that we are doing the best thing for them. So
you're QAing them before their audits, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so we are constantly, so when the supervisors are going around, it's not a proper QA every single time, but it's constantly going around in their sites, helping them with whatever they got, whatever problem they got at the time. So yeah, I think generally we don't get called out often by the customer of going, why have we found this?
So I'm going to do something, and I promise I am going to do it. I'm going to ring everybody who I know has been in a role similar to Jason's, and I'm going to ask them if I can record the conversation, and I'm going to ask them about how they QA their work on site, because it's something that I think small businesses, and certainly mine, maybe I'm taking mine as a benchmark, which I shouldn't, but I am. It's the only thing I know. It's something that we find difficult. Like, how do you even go about? Like, how often should you be QAing a site? How often should you, how do you do that? I spoke to Rob about it, and he gave us loads of ideas. And I think it'll probably be different over the different big firms. So I was going to ask them, if you, Jason, came to my business now and I had 3 or 4 technicians, what would you tell me, or what advice would you give us, or what things would you put in place to ensure that the customer is getting the work that they are expecting?
You've got to also look at what the technician obviously needs to know what the specification is and what you are going to be checking them on against, and then you can just score them on that specification. Have you got that moth lure in the bakery? Have you got everything that customer should have? I know, Paul, on the Asda side, you guys have quite a good QA process, don't you?
Yeah. So Asda, Sean, we do quality assurance audits 4 times a year. So the supervisors, technical inspectors go out and actually, within their area, but then also we rotate them around. So we've got 5 regions within the Asda contract, and we rotate them around so they go and audit another technician's area as well. It's the most healthiest competition that there is, right? Because we need to get as independent as we can to make sure and validate that we're nationally delivering for the client as we should do. So it's not just...
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I was about to say, do you find that internal competition, does it... How does that figure into that? Do people... I don't know. There's this thought from the outside that if you're auditing yourself, you're going to go easy on it. But the flip side of that is you can take it too far, where you can sort of get people developing grudges. I don't want, Mark or Billy or Terry.
Never happened. Because Jason, you would have, when you were a supervisor on the Asda side, you would have been going around with Molly doing the same thing, wouldn't you?
It's absolute carnage, and you want to pay people back. You absolutely want to get people. It is. And yeah, it does. I think it's better now, but at one point it did get a bit too competitive.
Okay, so how do you keep that in check? Because obviously it can give you a false positive, can't you? Which is, that guy over there, he's shit, and he's not actually shit. He just gave you a bad review, and now you are just like, right, that's it. I'll find one ant. You are fucked, mate. Like, this is it. You are going.
I think part of the problem was on the QA form, it was too overcomplicated, which allowed people to be too subjective on things, whereas we've now simplified that where it's black and white. You either get it right or you get it wrong. There's no, I'm going to mark him down for this because I want to get a better score in my team. So, yeah, it's now a black and white yes or no answer rather than okay, I found something, so I'm going to mark him down on that one.
Okay. So, I mean, that leads quite nicely into Hugh's question before I can see something boiling in Sean's brain there. Yeah. But Hugh says, what's the most common issue phone technicians? So off the back of those QAs, what's the most persistent bit of feedback that crops up time and time again?
Site plans, I would say, is probably one that people struggle on.
Yeah. Minimal not dating the back of the site plan, I mean, it's not going to be some fundamental failings on this, failings on that, right? It's and I'm honestly couldn't tell you from a trend analysis point of view what the number 1, 2 on those are at the moment.
It used to be the dating of the site plans. You had it dated annually. You got to write the date on the site plan to say you've reviewed it. And so that's generally. I think that was before we were talking about QAs. He was asking that. I think he was more in general. What is the most common issue you find with technicians? I think.
I mean, when I used to do audits, one of the things that I used to get time and time again is the technician not signing in at the actual site. So you'd have a big discontinuity between the site, what the site says you've done, and what your technician says you've done. And yeah, that was always a fun one to find.
Yeah.
No, that obviously with a large client like we have, is really important that those fundamental health and safety aspects are undertaken and adhered to. Yeah.
Go on, Sean. I'm dying for this one.
No, I'm just so if you take, I don't know how many technicians you got now.
102, 3.
How many of them are Asda?
We got 64 on the Asda side.
So here's the thing. So if you've got four customers, you go, one of the B&M have caused a massive kick-off with a £2 million fine, and another big one comes to you and they go, do you know what it is, Jason, Paul? We love what you do. We want you to assist us through Ireland, Scotland, England and Wales with our sites. How do you go about getting that put in place when you've got effectively 40 men, because 60 of them are just totally Asda? You can rule them out. They're not doing anything. How much of a push is it on the operations where you're like, guess what, guys? From tomorrow, we've got another 470 sites. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't quite work like that. We generally will have time to, so the mobilization plan will have your recruitment time. So we'll have the additional headcount for that new customer. So they will come in and they'll be dedicated to setting up and all that. Obviously, where there's problems with recruitment or whatever, that's where we will have issues and the team will have to go and support. But yeah, it's never easy to mobilize a new customer. It's never as simple as we'd like it to be. But yeah, we get it done. And the team are just, they take it on. And to be fair, we haven't had any issues with it. It's stressful, challenging, but we get there.
The nice part is from then, if we did land a large client, etc., whatever that may be, from a management aspect, we've got a number that would step up to that immediately. With a lot of the technicians. I mean, Jamie, I think Jamie Wall was the first one, wasn't he? Who did our city management training course as a technician, and then stepped up into the management position fairly quickly after that, to be fair. So we've got technicians that are doing management courses.
But do you ever find that when you take these sites on, that you have sort of needle or elbow with the current pest control suppliers? So say, I don't know, you're taking on BLM company because there's £2 million thing, and they're like, all right, yeah, we want you to do it. Like, if you've got this sort of phased introduction of them, do you not just find whoever's doing BLM at the minute, I don't know, turns around and goes, well, 17th of July, we're out. Like, no.
Sean, have you ever noticed that Pest Tech, how everyone looks at Paul and goes, what?
No, but like, how do you? Because
right, we need to change the B&M because of NDA reasons, right? So in the first part one, we've got to change that. Second part is if we are taking over someone, right? As Jason said, we've got that 3-month period, pretty much, where we'll start setting up, mobilising, recruiting, etc. Right then,
but hang on. This is what I'm trying to get my head around. Is that 3 month something that you swallow up to the start point, or is this something that you speak to them and you go, between these 3 months, we're going to take on 10, 20, 30 sites? Or is it like something where you're like, no, we've got to get this in place and build it up for that start date?
Yeah,
we always try do that a planned approach. Yes, there has been times where the other company will just walk out. And as I said, we haven't made a lot of friends in the industry from it when we do take over other companies.
No, but we will.
Hang on a second. Do you get needle off the other nationals the same way the local guys get it off the local pest controllers?
Right, I don't think we do because we're not.
That happens. Paul's like, no.
We'll go on a night out and Paul go, he doesn't like me because of this.
So hang on. So I've got a question just a bit related to this. We've got a little while left, and Paul, I'm just going to save you now. But with this, so when 70% of our industry, more than that, is micro businesses, and there's about 20% that are SMEs. But all this, and everyone we've interviewed before, and everyone we've spoken to, they kind of look towards the nationals and the servicing as them. They are a unit up there. They are the ones that are steering our industry. They are the ones dictating how everything goes. So my question to you is actually how entrenched, how involved in the industry and the politics of the industry do you guys feel you actually are? You're a big company. Obviously, you should have some sway. But realistically speaking, is it true? Do you guys have an ability to sort of like steer things? How involved in the industry actually are you? Or are you just getting shit done and letting the industry do its thing?
Go on, Paul.
We will get involved in the industry. We had, for example, a couple of bits and pieces. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with 2 of the senior managers within DEFRA over some of the aspects and the challenges. With MPTA members, and we've had meetings with them over ESG, which is really important.
I don't know what it is, Paul. Tell people what it is. What's ESG?
Environmental social governance. So we, as an organisation, we're looking after the planet, Sean. Right. So, Alex, shall we just chat?
Just on that though, Sean, because I'm the exact same. I'm like ESG.
Right. Sean. No, pause, Alex. This is important. I'm educating Sean. Right, Sean. We did, for example, Molly organised a project at a local school up in Glasgow, deprived children, etc. We did a whole multitude of bits and pieces for that school. Some of our technical inspectors, supervisor, here we go, another one of Turner's things. It was mind-blowing what they actually got out of it. Right? Don't underestimate.
Drugs. If they're in Glasgow, it's definitely
it was drugs. No drugs, none of that. Right? It was inspirational.
I didn't go to the day, but I sat in the meeting room with all these people afterwards because I had a meeting during the day, and all of them were so overly positive about how rewarding it was for them. And before, I know they were all talking about, oh, we've got to go do this rubbish in school. But I promise you, Sean, and I didn't do it, so I didn't get that giddy feeling inside saying I've done something special. But everyone in that room, every single person were saying how great and how rewarding it was.
But why? What did they do?
So from reading books to kids, it was building, insect hotels, installing...
Worm farms, plants. But, right. Sean, you need to come on one of the next ones that we do, mate. It will be inspirational for you. Right. And to be fair, look, one EMV were involved and supported us over it as well, which was brilliant. But it's great. Look, that from an ESG point of view is only one aspect. But right. So going back to your question, Alex, yeah, with MPTA, ESG and other things that are really important, Sean. Sorry.
Do you know what it is? No, I'm going to be serious here. The reason why I probably don't see the importance of it is simply because it's probably not that important to my customers at this moment in time. But for you, because it is, you're seeing the benefits of it, aren't you? Which is, I guess, why we do the podcast, isn't it? Like, because, and this has been the hardest thing that and I want to say thank you. I'll do it at the end because we've struggled to get the big boys on to talk about stuff like this. But this is we take the piss, don't we? But ultimately, this is the future of where we are heading. So you can laugh and joke about it as much as you want. It is a little bit funny, isn't it? Listen to Paul being all touchy-feely and fluffy and that. But the reality of it is, like, no, it is, isn't it? The reality of it is dealing with schools and helping kids out. And I was asking from a personal point of view, like, what did they get out of it? Because I am genuinely intrigued, whether it's a personal learning, whether it's like, do you know what it is? Like, these kids need help, and it's opened me up sort of emotionally to what's going on, to stuff I was closed off at. Is it a commercial learning where it's like, do you know what it is? We can harness this because there's an untapped resource here of kids that we are not looking at that we can bring into the industry. That's what I was saying to you. What did they get out of it when they sat in that room and they said to you, this is what we got? Was it a personal thing? Was it a commercial thing? Was it an emotional thing? Was it everything and above? Was it different for each one of them? Was there common underlying threads? What did the ESG meeting in the Glasgow School Without Drugs give your guys?
There is a financial aspect to it as well, because every one of them children, for example, that we invested that time have got a route rather than being a drain on society from a financial piece.
Got you.
Right. So that's why all the large companies will actually do that. Molly, you need to put in the chat how much ESG value City have actually over the last 12 months. But because it is millions, Sean.
Really?
Yeah. Can you can't remember what the actual value was, Jason, either, can you?
No.
While you consider that, I'd just like to say there's another element to this as well, which is, as an industry, we are viewed by the rest of society. You know, in other places, we are the untouchables. We do the jobs that other people don't want to do. We fish out dead rats. We sort of like kill things. We do the jobs that other people turn their noses up or are skeptical of, or the rest of it. I think a lot of these ESGs, you know, not necessarily the environmental aspect, because that's counting your carbon footprint and planting trees, but the social governance element of it, it allows society to humanize us in a way. You know, we are out there, we are just human beings doing a job, and we don't have big horns, and we aren't sort of like on a road to sort of like beating puppies. We're regular people, and we do it. I think there's a huge service to our industry every time anyone goes out and engages in these programs, just to sort of like increase our you know, the perception that people have of us. So I'm all for it at the end of the day.
No, totally agree. I mean, October, we're doing another session at another school in Glasgow. As Hugh says about the tenders, a lot of the tenders, a section of City, which CBs that do sort of implementation of construction work, a lot of their tenders is evidence your ESG sort of, you know, policies, processes, etc. So it's becoming more and more a part of that.
But you don't have to be a big boy either to be part of ESG. You can just go plant trees. That is part of ESG as well. There's so many different things you can do to get involved. You don't have to be a big boy to go into school and do all that. You can just planting a tree can be part of an ESG.
Yeah. Find a local conservation group. Go and cut down some, weeds. Engage in your local community. Talk to your local sort of like, I wouldn't say women's institute, but anyone, your scouts, any kind of sort of like independent group, and give them some of your time. And that's what it is at the end of the day: is giving your time to increase the betterment of society around you. That's about it. Molly says, as if I've got the number to hand, it's just a big number. So there we go. And you said
340 million.
Wow. Okay. Was that for Citigroup, I imagine? Yes.
Yep.
£340 million.
I think I'm around about right on that. That is our ESG impact.
As a group, yeah.
As a group.
So if you take even that you are 1% of that, that's still a significant return on investment just for a little bit of time and effort.
But sorry, we're diverted. That's what I was saying about the MPTA and the armed forces, again, that Molly's sort of involved in and trying to sort of recruit people from the army as well, stuff like that. So it's a big thing. And it's doing what's right, Sean.
Do you know, like I take the piss and people might. It's funny, but trust us, I'm soaking this up like a sponge. You're like, I think having a moral compass is an important thing, isn't it? It's a very, very important thing to have that moral compass. And I was asked to do an interview for a book. Did it on Wednesday morning. A lady who has wrote a book. I would have told her to do one, but she showed me her previous book that she'd wrote, and it was about coal miners, and my granddad was a coal miner, and she'd went back and she'd spoke to them, so she captured my attention. We were talking about it, and she was talking about pest control, and I was trying to say to her, like, the thing is, like, being a pest controller for me is about that moral compass. And I don't know if it's different for your boys on your sites, but I would like to think that our customers see us as almost a custodian of that site rather than just someone there to wipe out the pests. I think they want us to know about the local flora, the local fauna. They want us to understand our impact on the environment. They want us to try and be as sympathetic as we can in the actions that we take. And I think people get that wrong about us, don't they? They think that it's like, oh, it's great, you pull up and you shoot and you kill stuff and you're all that, and you're like, you'd probably go bust if you're relying on killing stuff, wouldn't you? You are. And again, I guess City are like the top end of it, aren't they? Yous are literally making money, making sure that you don't have to kill stuff, aren't you? As you said, you want to make sure that there is nothing on site so that you do not have to go back and kill it, don't you? So pest control. And people get this wrong, don't they? That moral compass. If you wanted someone who wanted to go out and kill stuff every day, it's probably not right for the job, is he?
This is why I make such a big point of that distinction between the terms pest control and pest management, because pest control is that pointy end of the stick, that is removing the pests from where they are. Pest management is the industry that we work in. It's everything that leads up into that point. It is that social element, that environmental element. It's everything from fixing leaky taps all the way through to giving toolbox talks at in the break room, educating people. But that's where the money is, and that's where the crisis is at the end of the day. Yeah.
I mean, another one, Sean. I'm sure you will. Bees. Just look at it from an ESG point of view with bees, because I wasn't that aware until you start looking at the bee decline and everything else, and the pollination process of fruit trees in China and etc. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And what we can do.
You didn't even know about it.
Sorry?
Sean does bees, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty hot on that. I'm just very worried, and this is digressing a little bit, and I hope City don't go down this route. I really do. We are seeing a lot of people saying to their customers, we can put beehives on your site and this will be great for your ESG. seen it. The downside to that is if you lose a swarm, like the chance of it sitting in someone's building and causing you the biggest headache you've ever seen is astronomical. And we are definitely now seeing the negative effects that it's happening, and there's firms springing up all over. I know someone who works for them, and they'll go into Goodwood and these places and that place and wherever it is, like, we'll put beehives on site for you, and they sell them the dream, and then the next thing it's like, oh, by the way, these bees are now living in the wall of your grade 1 listed building, and you're going to have to take them out. And they're like, oh no, like, ESG, can we kill them? Like, no, total nightmare.
I will say this. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think honeybees are the biggest ESG virtue signaling out there, because the reality of it is the problem with bee decline and the problem with bees has never been around honeybees. It has been exclusively around like the other 254 species of bees, or 224 species of bees. You know, from your bumblebees all the way through to all of your solitary bees. That's where the issue is. And putting more honeybees down solves nothing other than the fact that you just end up having honeybees in the wrong place, and then you have to go and kill them. And then it's sort of like a double kick in the teeth, isn't it? Because not only have you caused a problem, but you've perceptually creating a problem when you have to remove them. 4 minutes to stop the bees. But definitely, I think there is a big, we should do more education, putting up little bee hotels, putting up these sort of like solitary bee enclosures.
Absolutely.
When it comes to vegetation management, actually sort of like doing that management in a way that reduces rodents but increases biodiversity. Hundreds of things we can do. Just don't put a bloody honeybee hive up. You want honeybees? Go to an apiary. Fuck off into the woods. Do it out there. Don't do it on the roof or in your garden. So there we go. Sorry.
Cool.
Rant over.
I want to ask one last question. I've spoke a lot. So I'm going to ask a question and I'm going to leave Al to finish up. Knowing what you know now, you've both been in the industry a long time, and you see lots of stuff going on. Tell me the advice that you would give to a micro business, from a one-man band to a person with 5 technicians. From what you know of pest control, tell me what you think your best bits, not bit, but bits of advice would be to them.
Awkward silence, Chase.
I'll say you're only as strong as your. Yeah, it just takes one bad technician. You can get a bad rap pretty quickly, and I think, is that really a bit of the best advice I'd give to a micro business? I don't know.
No, it is, because you're only as good as the technicians that you've got, Sean. Yeah. You know that, right? And they're worth it. When you got good ones, like, you know, a lot of ours that have been with the, you know, with us for a long period of time, they're worth their weight in gold.
Yeah,
that honestly is, because then everything else, the communication, the quality, the this, the that, and all the and the honesty, and all of those other aspects that are so important, you get that from that. So, you know, it is very different, because look, you know, it's not my business, and as you said at the beginning, I'm not in it to make loads and loads of profit. Absolutely not. Right? Whereas Sean, you are. So excellent.
Yeah, I was about to say, so reputation is the key takeaway there. If you know you grow your business, it's reputation. Yeah. Okay. All right. Last couple of minutes, but very quickly, we got you know, just enough time. Have you guys got a question for the podcast? Because I know, Paul, you certainly listen to it. Jason, I'm assuming you do. He says pointedly, yeah. So with
such a liar. Such a liar.
I was stuck in the traffic on the M11 yesterday, so I whizzed through a couple. Sean, you ignored that one of the CPD points, mate.
To be fair, before you answered, when you said I was listening to a podcast, I know exactly the one you're talking about, and it's quite nice that I think Al will agree with this. I had no idea who listens to this podcast on the quiet. And then Al was like, well, we know this, we know that. And then something will happen. You'll be like, you fucker, they're listening to this. Like, there's a lot of people listening who you would never, I never dreamt for 1 second would have listened to us talk shite for an hour, but they do. And I think there's more spaces for more podcasts so that more people can get their thoughts and opinions and discussions out there. I think,
absolutely.
I think we're crying out for a couple more. Yeah,
totally agree. The fact that I've emailed you 32 times to try and get on this and you've deleted all of them is a bit rude. And I'm also hoping that my granddaughter who's watching, she's understands what your language is like, Sean. So, sorry, are there any other questions? Sorry, Clementine.
There we go. Oh, okay, there we go. Large number of City Techs listen to the podcast as well. Oh, lovely stuff. So this will be a discussion point on Monday morning. That's it. Fish for London saying I've been watching Sean chew random objects for years now. Anyone who's new to the podcast, just out of interest, if you ever see something like Sean not chewing on something or playing with something, he's probably. So there we go. Right, guys, it's time for the last three. You never actually asked us a question, did you? What was your question for us? Just while we close up, if you got one. Question for the podcast.
I've got no questions, Alex.
None.
It was just really great to see you.
No thoughts, just vibes. Yeah, cool. I can live with that. So our last three questions to you is: Have you enjoyed your time on the podcast?
Absolutely.
It wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought it was going to be, Alex.
Seriously, everyone says that. Like when we go off and sort of like, don't leave when we sort of like finish because we'll have a chat to the end. But everyone says this wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a trial by public court, or I was going to sort of like have all of this. It's genuinely not. It's just, it's a nice chat. It's getting some things, talked about and, pulling the curtain back a little bit.
We'll see what the HR team say on Monday, Alex, and go from there.
That's okay. Let me know what they say, because when you tell a joke so funny, HR wants to hear it. It's a good one, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Classic.
I'll tell you what I would like to say on the matter. I want to say thank you to you because I feel like this will probably be, or has potential to be, a bit of a junction in the podcast. When we first started getting guests on, there was lots of them almost laughed at the thought of coming on. And then it took a couple of people who were brave, Scott Johnson, Dave Haldelson, and a couple of others who went, we'll come on. And then all of a sudden, like HR will probably watch us and go, well, we could have said this and we could have said that. I will almost guarantee you now that some of the big boys who were like, we're not allowed on, all of a sudden go, fucking hell, we're behind the 8 ball here. Like that, like the first ones to market are always the winners, aren't they? So I just wanted to say thank you to you because a lot of them are like,
spot on.
But eventually they'll want to come on, and the learning. There you go. This is the
delete that.
Sorry. Yeah, no, Rupert Perkins, and this is the value I think podcasts bring to our industry. Rupert Perkins says, as a sole trader, I'm obviously the opposite end of the business, but very interesting. Thanks all. And I think we're at a point where now the information that firms had that was held back is now being made available. And the big guys listen to the little guys, we know they do, and pick up on industry feelings. And the little guys are listening to the big guys going, well, actually, we can bring this in. Like, how many of them would have ever heard of ESG or the benefits of it? And then all of a sudden you've got people going, what? I'll Google that. Maybe I'll put that in me, So thank you very much for coming on, and thank you very much for spending your time with us.
Yeah.
Cheers, Sean.
Feel like I need to call you a name now. I've been nice to you.
Getting all a bit emotional now.
Yeah. Go it.
Go it.
Right.
Second one is give us a shameless plug. Both of you. I want both of you to give us a shameless plug.
Me and Paul were talking, what is our shameless plug? I have no shameless plug. There's nothing I can think of.
It sounds like a good meeting.
We know you asked the 3 questions, and I have nothing I can think of in terms of what.
Absolutely. I'll be the same. Sorry, Sean.
Listen, right, I'll give you as a shameless plug then. For any of the big people out there who are looking for a whole different way to approach pest control, and that approach is where we basically bring everything under one banner so you have nothing to worry about. Someone who's going to work with you, work hard, maybe have a look at City FM. We don't do it the way other people do, but it's definitely a thing that you will be able to consider, and it'll probably help you avoid a £2 million fine. That's probably a good way to give a shameless plug in it.
That's exactly what I was about to say, Sean. Thank you for that.
I'm gutted. I wish I'd have done that one.
It's okay. We can dub your voiceover in post production.
That'd be brilliant, Alex. I'd really appreciate that.
I don't know why people keep knocking on the door. Like, fuck me.
Right, and the last question before we let you disappear for the evening. Who do you like to see interviewed next? You know, we've had a range of people on. Which of your competitors would you like us to put in the hot seat?
Right, can I answer this one first?
Yeah.
Right, okay. I've got probably a couple, to be fair, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Right. The person that's got me this job, a guy called Nick White, which would be interesting because he works for
the colour.
Nick White, where he works for Renskill, is a good guy. And the other one, Tom Garth.
Okay. We've had Garth before.
Yeah, his son.
Yeah.
Right.
Owen.
Because Sean, yeah, you were out of order with the video, and I'm pleased that you lied about video footage of me.
I love that. I knew. Listen. So, if anyone wants to look back on the Tom Garth,
I've got to go. Sorry.
What Paul's alluding to there is we had been at Pest at the PCN dinner, and Paul had been on my table, or we'd be on the same table together, and we're sitting chatting and blah blah blah. And Paul's obviously a bit of a live wire, so I jokingly said,
"Cheers." Sorry, Clementine.
Yeah, I've got a 2-minute video of Paul, which I didn't have. I never had it. I had no idea. But I knew that some of the City techs were watching it and would ring him and go, Paul, he's got an embarrassing video of you, which is exactly what happened. So somebody was like, this video. I was like, I haven't got one. I just knew I'd stress you out. So I just properly made it up.
And he did stress.
Brilliant.
Oh. No video was in existence, but I knew I'd get you with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean.
Come on then, Jason. Who would you like to see?
I wouldn't mind seeing someone like Defra, who's where we are struggling to get these. I know it's an impossible task, but if you could get someone important like that can answer why we can't get these glue boards. To me, I think there is a place where they're still being used, just by the people that use them properly can't use them anymore. And if we can get answers from them of why it's so hard to get there, I know it's a difficult task to do, but I think that'd be informative.
I would absolutely love that. The problem is we have in the past got people from government affiliates or pseudo sort of like government groups, and their hands are so tied as to what they can say. So the classic one being Sean's favourite from the National Bee Unit. They came in and she gave some good answers and the rest of it. And the second the camera went off, it was a case of, and this is what I really think. And you're like, but could you not have said that? Because that's what everyone needs to know. They need to feel that actually the wheels and machinations of government are working for you. It just takes a long time. So yes, we'd love to get someone like Defra on, but it would have to be the right person, because having an hour and a half of someone being like, I can't discuss policy out of, without my legal team behind me gets very.
The meeting we had, Alex, with one of our clients was really interesting and insightful.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I totally agree. Even down to then, when you think about some of these technicians that have been, doing pest control for 30 odd years, and then something changes, it affects their mental well-being as well, from not being able to control that problem. Right. Yeah. It's not easy in getting rid of some pest problems in a site when you've got one rat running up and down and you can't catch it. from a well-being aspect, it's really hard.
Yeah, and the thing is that ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to have these conversations because we just want to do better. We want to do well. We want to sort of like help people, and yet, you know, it's seen as some kind of sort of like, I'm trying to think of the right word, but some way that we're either trying to manipulate the situation or lead them astray, or no, we just want to be genuinely helpful. I think
Absolutely.
That's what right.
Hang on a second.
Hang
on. Just before you go, I want to say thank you very much for coming on. I think tonight, for the first time that I can remember, you've almost given a human feel to the top end of pest control, because the top end of pest control always feels inhuman. It feels like it's a machine that doesn't have people involved in it. But also, shameless plug number 2, because you are fucking shit at it. If you're a pest controller or you want to be a pest controller, a good place to start might be City, or a good place to continue if you want to do that type of work. So for anybody who is Armed Covenant, is it? Are you a part of that?
Armed Forces Covenant.
Forces, stuff like that. If you are, then through Jason and Paul, they'll probably put a link on here somewhere where you can keep an eye out for positions which may or may not become available as they look for replacements or whatever it is. Pay a higher rate of pay than most pest control firms, but you will be expected to fill your stickers in your box and write your date on the back of your mats.
Yes.
Fair.
Yeah, there you go.
2 great plugs. Thank you so much, Sean.
Yeah, you think I'm thick, but I'm soaking it up. Don't you worry.
Thick like a big gloopy sponge because you've taken it all on. Right. Yeah. So with that, ladies, gentlemen, everyone that's listening, thank you ever so much for joining us. Thank you ever so much for our guests. And with that, we'll see you all next week. So have fun, guys, and bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Beauties and Beasties podcast.